Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Convo presented by Leadership Indianapolis. I am Ebony Chappelle, and today I am so happy to be talking with Corey Wilson of the Pacers Sports and Entertainment. So, Corey, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's good to be with you.
Good to have you here. So tell us a little bit about your role with the Pacers. I know that you're very new there, just a few weeks in, but tell us about all the great things that you're doing with them.
So, yes, as I said, I'm a Vice President of Community Engagement for Pacers Sports and Entertainment. And my job is to look strategically at the things that we're doing in the community from an intentional perspective. And so that's across all the brands. So the Pacers, everybody knows, the Fever, the women WNBA team. We also have Pacers Gaming, which is the esports. We have the Mad Ants, which are the G League team up in Fort Wayne, as well as the Pacers Foundation. And we have Bankers Life Fieldhouse. So across all those brands is my purview of making sure that the community is represented.
Wow, that is a lot. That is a lot. And I know you and I have this in common, that we both transitioned professionally to new roles in the midst of a pandemic. So talk to us a little bit about what that's been like. And also, how does an organization like Pacers Sports and Entertainment stay engaged with the community when we have to be so separated right now?
Sure. So from a personal perspective, obviously nobody knew this was coming. So it's just been one of those things where you roll with the punches. You have to be somewhat fluid and figure it out as you go along. People ask me all the time, you chose a great time to change jobs. Well, it wasn't really my choosing to have this happen, but I think I'm stronger for it and, figuring things out. I'd say what we're doing from a Pacers Sports and Entertainment perspective as an organization is just continuing to make sure that we're informing, we're educating, and where possible, we're also providing some philanthropic help to the community. So there was early on a big challenge that our president, as well as owner Herb Simon, did with Colts owner in activating the community. I think there was about $400,000 that was given away to community centers as a result of that. We had initiatives. We have actually an employee who's making masks out of Pacer equipment and apparel for individuals. And there's a lot of one-off things that are happening from individuals within the organization. So it's those types of things that, quite honestly, would happen regardless, that are getting some limelight, which I think is well-deserved.
Wow, that is really cool. That's really cool to hear all of the great things that are going on. And I want to dive in a little deeper on your point about you being better for the transition that you're going through right now. What have been some of your highlights of this moment? And have you had any challenges during this transition in the midst of everything else that's going on?
I think the highlights are, the willingness and the adaptivity of just people in general in embracing this technology vehicle to get to know each other and try to continue doing work. It hasn't been that stall of you kind of clinch up and say, okay, I don't know what to do, so I'm just not going to do anything. I mean, we've had to all figure it out. So that's been the kind of highlight of, just that esprit de corps of everybody coming together. I'd say the challenge, I jokingly have said, for example, my team of folks at the Pacers Sports Entertainment, I've never met them before other than virtually.
Wow.
And so, navigating that and getting to know people virtually for the first time, where in the course of a meeting, for example, when you're face to face and it's near the end of the time, you'll see people start to, fold up their books or notepads and, push away from the table. You can't really do that virtually. So it's kind of navigating from that perspective on what are some of those cues that you look for from people. How do you read people? You never know, particularly when you've never met them before. So, I jokingly told some people internally at the Pacers Sports Entertainment, I said, I don't even know if anybody has legs. That I've only seen them from
just
the shoulders up.
Yeah.
But at some point we'll be able to confirm or deny. But it's just an interesting time, and you have to, just try to figure out the best way you can. And fortunately, even coming from University of Indianapolis, which is where I was before, and into this role, and having, worked virtually there throughout the first part of the pandemic, just, like I said, utilize the technology. Thank goodness for technology to kind of do things like this and other things as well.
Yeah, indeed. I have not been on Zoom so much in my entire life. I don't think I ever used it until this happened. And now having to work primarily there and never get to interact with your coworkers, you're right, it can be a challenge. But so many people are stepping up and being able to really thrive during this time. So I know that you are a graduate of SKL Class XXXVII. And there's just, so many other great people that are in that class as well. And from what I understand, there's just so much that can be gained through that experience. But I'm sure you've had other experiences as well that have really empowered you as a leader. What are some of the key leadership lessons that have helped you survive and thrive during this time?
The main things I think about from a SKL perspective, but also just, working professionally, are you have to be comfortable in the areas of gray. I think any leader will tell you that there is not always a right or a wrong or a black or white. A lot of times people come to me with questions and looking for me to make a decision, and both solutions are good ones. And so you have to, I find myself saying both or yes and a lot of times versus the or. And I think it's feeling comfortable in navigating those. I'm a big person that believes in collaboration and, not leading from I am the boss, you need to follow my way. But I really want people to come around, rally around an idea, which means that it takes a little bit longer sometimes to come to consensus, but in the end, you'll have a better product. The African proverb of if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think that really applies, to some of the work that I continue to do and think about from a leadership perspective.
Wow, that is awesome. That's awesome. In the spirit of going together, I know that you and your wife, Dr. Nicole Wilson, have been incredible mentors and examples for a lot of people in the community, even outside of what you do professionally. Again, in the age of social distancing, we're starting to, not be together in person as much as we were before. But that's still important, to the community at large. What advice would you give to people on how to still stay engaged during this time as a mentor and as a leader when you can't have that face-to-face time with one another?
In a way, it's time to utilize this time to develop more intentional, deep relationships with people. A lot of times when I talk to younger people, they think, okay, well, I talked to him once, I'm good. We connected on LinkedIn and I'll call him when I need him. And yeah, that may be true in some sense, but a lot of times this is a relationship world. And so this is a time where you can utilize the technology, whether it be virtually, whether it be a phone call, whether it be a text, just to reach out to say, hey, how you doing? I was thinking about you and love to, continue to pick your brain as time allows. And you might actually get more time with somebody now versus, when things were what we used to know is normal, because you don't have some of those distractions. And I'm sitting at home like everybody else. So it's not like I could say, oh, well, I got to catch a flight.
I got somewhere to be.
Right. It's probably not happening. So, take advantage of it. And, I think for me, because both Nicole and I do get requests from individuals saying, hey, I'm looking for somebody who would be good for this or might be interested in this. Who's going to be top of mind is probably the person that's called me recently, reached out to me, I've developed some sort of relationship with, bigger than just, yeah, we had a drink or we had lunch one time, or they sent me something on social media. But those true in-depth relationships are what's helpful. And I'll just end with this, because not only that was a point in time. So, you know, we had lunch or we connected, but a lot may have changed since the last time we spoke. And so having an update on where you are, what you're doing, what you like, what you're thinking about is equally important. So, you know, I encourage everybody to maximize this time to really be intentional about reaching out to people and maybe thinking about it from the standpoint of, you know, developing a list of, you know, 3 to 5 people. You don't have to say, I'm going to reach out to 45 people. Just, you know, pick your top 3, but really make an effort to reach out. It could go a long way.
Wow, that is great advice. And I'm actually going to take that myself. I'm going to take that gem for me. And hopefully it's helpful for other people as well. But Corey, thank you again for your time and your wisdom and for spending this time with us. I definitely appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. And thank you all for tuning in for the Convo, and stay tuned next week for another conversation.